Hi everyone, this is the update for today, March the 31st of 2026. So, honestly, today was the day. Let's put it that way. I worked at the store today, 8 to 5, ended up being 8 to 5:45 if I'm being completely honest. And yeah, to sum it up, the CEO came in this afternoon. Now, this was announced in advance. We knew about a week in advance, and it occurred to this afternoon around 3:30 in the afternoon. You'll notice that in several of my previous updates, I mentioned, in the last week, cleaning windows, cleaning the cleaning room, uh, cleaning, um, cleaning the little tracks the sliding doors go through. Yeah, cleaning. All of that was basically culminating in today. And so for about 90 minutes, actually about ended up being about 2 hours, the CEO of our parent company and of course an entire entourage of executives, including the division leader and all the VPs and a bunch of other folks with titles I don't understand, were in here. And you know if and this type of situation, and honestly this is like my fourth take of this video because I have a lot to say um on this particular subject, and this is just going to be a launching off point for me to just start kind of riffing a bit. And but it's important to keep in mind when I go into this that apparently my understanding is that most retail seems to work in a pretty similar way in this regard. And so this is a don't hate on the player, hate on the game situation. Um, Basically, I'm critiquing the system as it currently exists, and so just keep that in mind here as I go on. And I'm going to start with a question. For those of you who follow the news, do you remember the grocery store? Oh gosh, this is a few years ago where, um, long story short, they had some kind of corporate inspection or standards walk or one of these type of things. Um, Not even maybe a CEO level one, but just one of these type of inspection type of things. And basically, they failed. At one point, for example, my company had something called a certification where the checkout department had to get certified. Well, what happens if we didn't? What happens if we didn't get certified? Well, anyway, some location of some chain, did the FAFO thing and they found out. And basically, because they didn't do well in this corporate walk, the location got shut down a couple of days later and everybody got fired. And you guys remember that story in the news at all? Neither do I, because nothing like that has ever happened. All right? Yet, you would think, based on the panic and the fear that comes in, like the hand of God, every time that some, kind of walk or corporate guru muckety muck person is showing up, you would think that this was some kind of life or death, like, career ending, shut us all down, we all lose our jobs type of code red, DEFCON 17, whatever, type of scenario. And yet, every single type of inspection or whatever that I've gone through in the last, quarter of a century of doing this, the store's always open again the next morning. Every single time. And I am quite confident, and I am filming this at 11:56 at night, that tomorrow at 6 a.m., the doors will again open tomorrow. So, um, And so I honestly, um, I don't understand the fear component that goes into this. I mean, we're not going to, I just, yeah, and this just goes from 25 years of managers and, and whatnot. And it's universal. It's obviously systemic. And not any individual, and I've started thinking through this logically, and of course, might be one of those things that applying logic to it is, my first mistake. But I just realized that having this light on behind me makes this little halo type of thing right here. Ding. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying. So if I'm trying to think about this logically, which again is a mistake, but if the if you're trying to deceive somebody, all right, and so you're putting on a little show for them. The thing is, if they know that you're putting on a show to deceive them, how effective is your show? That's the question. Because in my experience, a very high majority of, or a very high percentage of the people that are in like these, like inspection and division leadership and whatnot, retail positions, came up through the ranks. And by what I mean by the ranks, basically, the people who are putting on these little shows for the corporate guys when the corporate guys show up. Well, the people that came up through the ranks putting on the little shows are now the corporate guys. So they know that the little shows are shows because they personally put them on. So what is the point of continuing to put on the little shows when they know their shows? I don't understand. Part of me thinks that this is like a 4D chess type of thing where the actual objective is your store needs to be scrubbed from top to bottom or else deadline next week. But rather than actually saying that, instead they disguise it as, oh, by the way, we're having a walk. And it's actually just their way of, lighting a fire under everybody to do a bunch of extra cleaning. It's a conspiracy theory. I'm probably wrong. But anyway. And my other question about this is about these dog and pony shows. All right. So if you work for any bureaucracy type of place, any big corporation, if there is something procedurally that is wrong, your immediate supervisor can almost never affect it. Well, that's a corporate set thing. Okay. So if you're having a problem with a process or a system or a supply or something, and you talk to your immediate supervisor about it, the response is almost always, well, that's some kind of corporate thing, it's out of my control. So, if it's a corporate thing and it's out of management's control, well, if you wanted that thing to get changed, who should know that it's broken? Corporate, right? Not your store director, not your department manager, not even like your regional person or whatever. Corporate. Specifically, the people at corporate that make those decisions should be the ones to see that they're not working. Yet, if that particular person, the person that can change what the problem is coming, the goal is always then to cover everything up and make it look like it's working so that they don't see that it's not working. So that's why nothing ever gets fixed. Anyway, thanks for joining me all the way to the end. Just a theory, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.